Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers and to my first run look at the new Mizuno Neo Zen. It's a non-plated daily trainer that Mizuno says is the perfect shoe for all distances, speeds and personal needs, and that is a pretty bold claim, and we will be doing the requisite test miles to see if it lives up to that billing. But before we bring you our full review, here's my thoughts after some initial early miles. Let's give you some quick design details first then. And first up, you've got the specs. You've got the Mizuno Neo Zen packs a 40mm, 34mm stack of Mizuno Energy Next nitrogen infused foam with a gentle rocker and a 6mm drop. It weighs in 8.5 ounces or 241 grams in my UK men's 8.5. That's about the weight of a Saucony Endorphin Speed 4 or a Nike Alphafly Next Percent 2 if you go back a generation. And it's priced at £130 in the UK or $150, so it's at the cheaper end. Now that midsole is super soft, extremely cushioned across the foot and compresses a lot, and that makes the drop feel lower. Up top you've got a one-piece soft knit upper that's light and airy with an integrated tongue for a booty style fit and a minimal race style heel package with some reinforcements, but those are still pretty pliable. But they do add some structure and support into that heel package. Flip them over and the outsole has a really generous covering of Mizuno's X10 rubber as well, good for durability and grip. Onto the first run then. I've actually done two runs in the Mizuno Neo Zen. I did a 7-miler at cruising sort of middling pace with a few faster efforts mixed in, and then a really easy 4.5-miler which was at my very kind of slowest pace. Now I always look at shoes when you've got this kind of minimal race style upper and heel package with a little bit of trepidation. I always think there's a real risk that they'll rub or not quite sit right and maybe not be as comfortable as your traditional sort of uppers and traditional heel collars. But actually the Neo Zen slips on the foot really easily and it quickly feels like it belongs there. The wrapping booty style upper holds well across the midfoot, but it's nicely flexible, it supports but moves, and it's all very spacious overall. I had plenty of length in the toe box, maybe a little bit too much length there. And the heel collars come up a little higher as well on my Achilles and under the ankles than some shoes in this style. But I found that actually made for a little extra security without any unwanted rubbing. I ran in my regular UK 8.5 and these did feel a little long in the toe box. I don't mind a bit of room in sort of racier shoes, but I think I'd like just a touch less length to make everything feel a little bit more connected with the ride underfoot. Though I'm not sure I'd actually risk going half a size down in these shoes. On the plus side, they are nicely light and airy and generally offer a really quite disappearing feel on the foot. Now when it comes to the midsole feel, the first sensation you get when you put these on is a marshmallow softness from the nitrogen infused foam. Like it's really soft, squidgy, highly compressive with some wobble, but it returns quickly as well to deliver a big dollop of buoyancy and bounce. From the very first few steps you take in it, you know you're in for a fun ride in this shoe. Now, this is a bouncy foam shoe without a plate, and while some testers I think found the outsole midsole combo stiff enough, on this first run I noticed the lack of that plate. But then I prefer stiffer shoes generally. I've not run in the Neo Vista that has a plate and I'm told offers a similar ride or range to this Zen shoe but with a bit more stiffness, so maybe that'll be more my shoe. But I don't tend to struggle with stability, but even for me in the first few miles these shoes did feel a little bit out of control. I had quite a bit of lateral movement and I had to pay attention to my foot strike initially. But I immediately enjoyed that energy coming back. It's lively, it's fun, feels nice and soft. But for some of this first run I felt it was a bit like I was driving on the motorway in heavy rain where I just needed to concentrate that extra bit. Now I clocked 12 or so miles in total and I found the foam settled the further I ran, or maybe I settled into the shoe. Either way, in the latter miles, the ride started to feel more controlled as I got used to it. And overall, the Neo Zen started to feel more natural. I had to think less and less the longer I had it on my feet about those kind of landings. Now, when you engage them right as well, what you get is a springy return that feels lively and exciting. The softness in the foam also works well to eat the road impact at the slower miles. And even moving slow, you're getting assistance from that bounce and that return from that energetic midsole. I do worry that the wobble might not offer the support that some runners might want from a shoe to do the very sort of easiest of miles. If you're looking for almost like a container shoe that's going to hold you and keep you stable, maybe this isn't it. But in terms of cushioning, they can certainly take the edge off the road. Now, I didn't push them to my fastest paces, and I'm interested to see how they perform when you're landing mid to forefoot but really punching into the ground. My inclination here is that they're going to work well at marathon pace or cruising just below, but I'm looking forward to challenging all of that over the next 20 or 30 miles that I'll do in the shoe in testing. To To sum up my initial first impressions then, well, in the early miles this shoe did have me a little bit worried. From walking out of the house, I felt the softness and the wobble quite a lot. If you like a firmer, stiffer shoe, maybe this will be too soft. I definitely noticed the lack of a stabilising plate at times. I'm not sure if that's because of the shoes that I've been testing before this one. A lot of those have had a bit more rigidity, but initially it felt like a very different ride from many of the shoes that I've run in recently. Some ways these actually reminded me of a shoe we reviewed. It's not a well-known shoe, but the High-Low Impact. It's a shoe that was full of energy but lacked a little bit of stiffness to smooth out the transitions. I get that same sensation here, or at least I did for a while in this shoe, where I couldn't get away from the fact that I wanted a little bit of extra kind of stiffness and control to really punch up that foam, to add a little bit of extra to that bounce, bit of pop, with a bit of control and snappiness perhaps. That said, this is a really lively shoe in a lightweight package with bounce and buoyancy that cruises really well. It eats miles very, very easily and offers plenty of impact protection at slower paces. It feels really versatile as a result of all of that. I'm really interested to see if this could be an option for marathon pace and faster training efforts, and if it ticks those boxes well. At the price you're getting this shoe, I think this could be a properly good value all round, and I'm looking forward to putting that fully to the test. So there you have it. That's been my first impressions of the Mizuno Neo Zen. We'll have the full review up once we've done the full testing. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when that and other videos land on the channel. If you're interested in fast daily trainers, I'm popping a review up on screen now that you should definitely go and watch. Otherwise, thank you very much for stopping by, and until next time, happy running, people.